Okay, so the next success criteria we're going to look at is, again, how to write an equation in linear function given the slope and a point. And this time the point that you're going to be given is not the y-intercept. Okay, so anytime you're given a point and the slope, not the y-intercept, the easiest is to use point-slope form. Now remember, point-slope form is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Okay? Now, again, it's just going to be a simple substitution. So remember, this point is x and this is y. And so when we come to put it in here, the easiest to actually put it into is your y1 and your x1. Okay? So ignore the fact that, not ignore, but a lot of times we'll put a 2 here and a 2 here, just so you don't confuse the two. So put it in the y1 position. So let me show you what I'm talking about. All you have to do is say y minus your y value. And in this case, your y is a -2. So I'm going to put another negative, or parentheses there. M, and then x minus, now that's in the formula, your x. Okay? So the only thing that you might see as another way of writing this, of course, is to simplify the double negatives here and write it as y plus 2 equals 4x minus 2. So that may be how you want to write it. Now, in most cases, there's no reason why you can't leave it in this form. So you do have to be careful what the question says. So if it says to leave it in standard form or leave it in slope-intercept form, in that case you might need to do some work. So more than likely, if they ask you to put it in any form, it will be in slope-intercept form. So for this problem, I'm going to go ahead and do that for you. So if you're putting it in slope-intercept, again, slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. So it just means we're solving for y. Let me just real quickly show you how to do that. This is just your distributive property. Okay, and then just move over your 2. So y equals 4x minus 10. And so this would be your answer if it was in point-slope form, if that was okay to leave it, or this answer. Okay. But if it asks for it in slope-intercept form, this would be your answer. So again, there is no reason, though, why you could not leave it in that form unless it specifically asks you for a different form. Okay, so if you need to, pause the video and get that down, because I am going to erase it because I'm going to have too much stuff on here. So if you don't have that down, pause please and erase that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do number 2. Again, it is the same thing. We're going to write y minus whatever my y is. In that case here, it's 3, equals my slope times x minus, again, remember that minus comes from the formula, and then I have a -4 to put in. So you really do need to go ahead and just simplify that in terms of -2, and then don't leave the double negatives is what I'm meaning. So for now, unless I ask you different, that would be an acceptable answer. Okay, again, be sure you have that written down. Okay, so number 3, the same thing. This is my x and my y. It doesn't never hurt for you to put those on there. A slope of 0. So y minus my y, it's a -6, equals slope, which is 0 in this case, x minus a -5. Okay, so let's do some simplification. So first off, this would be y plus 6 equals 0 times x plus 5. Now, some of you might have said, but why do I even need to write that? Because I know 0 times anything is 0, and that is 100% true. So you actually could have skipped this step here and gone straight to this step, and that would be acceptable. Now, in this one, more than likely, you're going to want to move this over to the other side, only because if you have your y equals k, okay, k being just a general number, plus or minus k, again, you recognize this always as a horizontal line. Okay, horizontal line. Okay. So again, hopefully that makes sense to you. Be sure you have that copied down. Okay, number 4. So y minus, so here's my x and my y. So y minus 3 equals 3/4 x minus 12. Okay, now when I look at that, again, I can't simplify this because there's not the double negatives as in isn't over here. So again, that would be acceptable left that way if it's okay to leave it in point slope form. Now, again, I'm going to take a minute just to work through this one. If it asks for it in slope intercept, so if it did ask you to do this, you're going to need to remember we're distributing a fraction. So 3/4 times x would just be 3/4 x. 3/4 times 12. Well, 4 will go into 12 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. And that's a minus 9. Okay. Final step would just move to add the 3 over to both sides. And my final answer would be y equals 3/4 x minus 6. So that is if I need it in slope intercept. If I want it in point slope, I could stop right there. Okay? Very good. Again, be sure you have that written down. Okay, and my final example for you. Again, x, y. So y minus y. Y in this case is a -3. That's probably the hardest part, is realizing that when you put a negative in, this is not the negative represented here. This is the negative represented up here. M, and then x minus x. Okay, so again, this one, just to make it look nicer, we would go ahead and change that to a plus. I don't like you guys leaving anything with a double negative on there. And so that would be, again, your final answer. Now, this would be another one that I made you easy numbers, so you could really easily go ahead and multiply that out and solve it. I would probably suggest that, even though I'm not going to do it here for you, that you do go ahead and put that in slope-intercept form. Okay, so again, the next set of problems that you're going to do on your own will be formed as multiple choice questions. Please pay attention, guys, because this, again, will be more that you need to pay attention to the signs, because that's what I'm going to do to try to make this more difficult, to make sure you're paying attention is to the signs. So good luck on the next set of problems.